various versions available in MDG. So now instead what are the features, what are the difference in the versions which are available? Prior to that we need to understand which versions are compatible with which versions of SAP. So 6.0 or 6.1, people will also say 6.1 is available only for EHP7 on your ERP system. Even 7.0, 7.0 Future Pack, 8.0 would be available on EHP7. Now if the customer is on EHP8, he can go and install 9.0, 9.1, 9.2 also. These are all add-ons for the two different versions. I should say additional software. And in S4HANA, if you take 1610, you would get automatically 9.0. If you get 1709 license, you'll get automatically 9.1. 1809, you'll get automatically 9.2, which is MDG is embedded in S4HANA. You don't need to purchase the MDG solution separately if you are on S4HANA. Right? So any questions on this point? Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. So now what are the difference between each version? So SAP as a software release, any new release which SAP would give has a very basic functionality. Example, if we take 6.1, it has most of the finance module, and 7.0 it included finance plus material module. 7.0 Future Pack, it included finance plus material plus business partner as well. 8.0, I mean, this is the place where the complete MDG solution has been built, prepared and delivered. And from 8.0, it's almost like, adding additional attributes. Say for example, here Material Master has 230 fields. In 8.0, it would be 250 fields. So application is getting matured in terms of adding additional fields into the scope. Apart from that, there are no other differences. The only difference that we need to understand between EHP8 till EHP8 and on S4HANA version, S4HANA version comes with a fuzzy search. That's an additional advantage that we are getting with these versions. Fuzzy search comes with the nature of HANA database. If your database is not on HANA, you cannot implement fuzzy search. If at all you wanted to implement a fuzzy search, there are another tools or softwares like trucks which customer has to purchase, install and connect to that trucks engine to do this fuzziness. So the major difference comes with 1610 S4 HANA version starting from 1610, which is nothing but a fuzzy search. This is how the history of SAP MDG versions and dependencies in terms of software deliveries. So the prerequisites to be a functional and technical consultants, if people are looking for functional roles, people who has experience in any of the ERP solution software is a minimum prerequisites. He must not be definitely on SAP. He can be of any background, maybe a Java based solution, or it can be from Oracle, or it can be from any other ERP solutions. Having a work experience in any one of the ERP should make the things go. And for the technical consultant, so a candidate should be from ABAP, core ABAP background. So is it a demo class? No, it's not about only demo, it's demo plus first decision. Yeah. So candidate should be from ABAP background, from OOPS knowledge. OOPS is mandatory for the technical consultants working in MDG, and functional consultants, any ERP experience. Just a moment, I think. Now, being a functional consultant, his primary role would be working with the client. Of course, client phase is a common challenge for all the functional consultants, but here the challenge would come in terms of handling the domain users. So there would be a committee from the client side who would be calling us Master Data Management, MDM. So these people are the key stakeholders in the business to take the decisions when to create the master data, how master data changes would be influenced on the business, and what is the impact on the transactions. So they are responsible for most of the purchasing team and procurement team, sales team in terms of creating and maintaining the master data. So they would have the complete domain experience and importance of each attribute that they would use in the business. So dealing them would be little challenging because the master data is the most impacted or important data from the business point of view. If the data is not qualified or has any dirt introduced in the system, the major decisions would be stopped because the decisions would be happening based on the trust on the master data, not on the transactions. So to make sure there is a quality of data available in the system, there would be a governance process which is already established, maybe using HPSM tools or maybe CA tools or maybe any other incident management tools. Using those tools, there would be some approval process that they will run, and people would have been implemented a traditional emailing mechanism to make this approval process smoother. So we are coming up with an MDG solution to replace those traditional ways of handling the master data management with the state-of-the-art application which is tightly integrated with SAP. So being said that we are a master data functional consultant, we should have the knowledge of master data, how it's being used, and we would be requiring MDG configurations completely and troubleshooting techniques. And for the technical consultants, we have NWBC screen developments, we have workflows, we have replications, and we have MDG coding libraries as well. Which all the ABAPs, the traditional ABAPs would not actually has a knowledge on workflows.
So we'll be teaching functional and technical both, right?
Yeah, this includes both.
Okay. And the other question I had, like how this will be integrated with central finance? Will you go through that also?
Sorry, how? I didn't get that.
Because will the MDG integrated with central finance?
It can integrate. It can integrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello?
So, hello.
Yeah.
Yes, it can integrate with central finance as well.
Okay. So would you also go through that, or like?
Now the integration point we'll discuss.
Okay.
Now the target system can be anything. It can be central finance or it can be Variba, it can be anything.
Okay, any target system. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So if if the professional does not have an FPM development knowledge or workflow development knowledge or no replication knowledge, it's okay because we are going to cover all these things from the basics, even MDG coding. I'll be able to help you with all basics of FPM, workflow, replication, and coding methodologies. But the prerequisite here would be at least a candidate should be understanding how OOPS would work. It's not like expert level, even the basic level of knowledge in OOPS should work. So these are various.
And hi Karthik. Yeah, in case of functional consultant, is there any minimum basic requirements or?
No, not exactly.
Okay.
As we told, any experience in terms of one business to business process.
Okay.
Peer experience should work.
Okay. Okay.
So because of the digital transformations, mergers and acquisitions, system integrations, business analytics, and human errors. By this, there is a huge amount of data in the production environment getting corrupted. So the data which is corrupted would have an immediate effect on the chief financials, informations, front-end and operations department. They lose a lack of transparency, who changed the data, why they have changed, what attributes have been changed, whether the changes are correct. If not, how do we revert back? Then reverting the data would require the SOX compliance sometimes if it is related to finance data. It requires some manual efforts to update the data across the distributed systems as well. It's a huge time investment, and the recovery time would take its own time based on the impact what it happened to the transactions. So it's like not all companies would require MDG. The companies who are occupied most of the geographical space in the business world would require an MDG platform. The issues might come with the small size companies or mid size company as well. But if you look in practical, the small and mid size companies would not effort to implement MDG. If an MDG is being implemented by a customer, I think you can say he's maybe a premium customer of SAP as well. There are various solutions to manage the master data: manual processing, IBM Insofair, Master Data Services, Oracle MDM, and SAP MDM. Along with SAP MDM, we are coming up with a new solution called SAP MDG. MDG is an inspired version of MDM. MDM is a non-ABAP stack. That means it is not flavor of this traditional programming language of SAP. It was initially a third-party application which SAP has acquired it. So it has its own challenges in terms of integrations and data maintenance. Identifying those loopholes, SAP has come up with its own solution called MDG. All the features, all the possibilities, or all the existing functionalities of MDM has brought into MDG, and MDG also has its own advantages. This is the architecture of MDG, which has finance, vendor master, custom master, and material master as part of out-of-the-box solution. So if you wanted to build any custom solution, you can build a custom object as well. The moment you take MDG as a software, you'll get ready-made used interfaces, roles, work centers, workflows, validation rules, some of the MDG applications like change requests, governance models, and so on and so forth. But this MDG box will be installed only starting from ERP 6.0, EHP 6 or 7, not less than that. And the front end would be NetWeaver Business Client. So this MDG box can connect to any other ERP boxes or SRM box, CRM box, EAM, on-premise, cloud, a third party. For that, there are various communication techniques which are offered, like SOA services for SAP and non-SAP. iDocs, RFC, and file transfer. Using these four techniques, we can communicate to any system which is available in the world. Yeah. So this is about the MDG high-level architecture and the services that it can integrate with other systems. As part of a data quality, it can also integrate, this is optional, this can also integrate with the information steward tools, data services, Power Designer, or SAP HANA SDQ, Smart Data Quality Systems, using which the data would get enriched automatically by this integration. Or it can also integrate with some third-party applications like DNB or the local Ministry of Commerce. In a specific country. Any questions on this slide?
Karthik, what are these information steward data services tools used for?
These are used to cleanse the information. It can read the data from various systems. Yeah, maybe you have a Oracle system from which you are upgrading to S4, or you have parallelly Oracle system to manage your finances. You might, a client might be happy with Oracle Finance, but for the rest of the solutions he is implementing SAP, right? And you have some of the Java applications, but still SAP needs all the data, finance data and other address informations, or maybe master data informations from various other systems into SAP, right? So for that, these tools will be used. These tools will read the data from any system and push the data into SAP system by applying some rules and data cleansing activities as well in between. So this would be your source. Which has quality of information. Now MDG is kind of an ongoing maintenance. Like any record which is newly created or any record which is going with the changes, MDG will make sure that it meets at post quality standards. Yeah. Hope your question answered. Any other?
Yes, Karthik, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. If not,
Karthik, so it's like, I mean, when you say that these tools will do the cleansing and move it to the SAP MDG system, so will it be also like a server kind of a stuff within the MDG system, or else how the interaction do happen between both these tool as well as this MDG server?
yeah. So it's not like MDG server. The moment you go with MDG, you don't get these data quality tools. It has its own platform, own licenses, own software, which can be hosted on the same instance or different instance. It is no way directly connected to MDG. Like you can go with these tools without having MDG, or MDG can also do this without having these tools as well. So let's say um, customer cannot implement these tools because of his licenses. Okay, customer don't have the licenses to implement it. But still, the cleansing activity would happen. There would be a small project which is called as harmonizations or cleansing and harmonization project. Then people will come, read all the data, all the SAP system data will be extracted into Excel, and this data is given with the MDM experts who can work on these Excels. Understand here, this MDM is nowhere related to SAP, only master data management. It can be SAP data, or it can be Oracle data, or it can be any other system data. They will only work on Excel. They don't know what happens later on. They'll take the business rules and let's say a vendor address information is missing. It's incomplete. So they'll look at the vendor registration number. With the registration ID, they'll go and find the complete address in Google and they fill address information in the Excel. That's where they'll enrich the data. They will validate whether the vendor name is meeting with the same, based on the registration number. They will see the vendor name which is available in Excel is matching with an actual vendor name which is published in the internet. If not, they'll correct it. Likewise, they'll bring the data into some unified standards and then they'll identify potential duplicates and then they'll give it to the business to mark the duplicates as mark for delete or mark for block, and then I'm just saying transform, and then it will be given to maybe SAP or Oracle team for its own respective departments. And if it is SAP, using some LSMW tools or data uploading tools, these Excel files will be loaded into SAP system. If customers are not affordable to implement bots, this is the other practice which they do. The same thing would be can be achieved by using these tools as well. Yeah. Sorry, there was a question in between.
Yeah. Hi, Karthik. This is Rachit. So if we talk about this process, process happens before any implementation is done in MDG for any
Exactly.
particular year, right? So it is just, so if I would have to define it, I would say it is just a simplifying the data so that the replication through boards will happen smoothly, right?
Right. Correct.
Right. And can I say that information steward, data services, Power Designer, HANA Smart Data Quality, SAP Solutions, and SAP HANA. So like there are these multiple systems or applications or softwares which can be used to simplify the data.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi Karthik, again this is Srinivas. In order to cleansing this data, whatever from non-SAP you told till now, so is there any part, functionality involved by the MDG consultant?
No.
Are we involved here?
Nowhere. Nowhere.
Okay. Only after loading the data, then only MDG consultant, work will start.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
So this is the simplified process flow which happens when the customer implements MDG. There are 3 layers. The base layer is the business process layer where your operational systems are available. I would say this system might be an SAP ERP system and there are some other third-party systems. And we should understand the terminology when we say operational ECC system. That's where all your transactions are happening, all your invoice. Purchase request, purchase order, sales order, settlements are taking place. So in one scenario, I'm taking just one scenario, there is a guy in an outlet, maybe a store of Mercedes-Benz outlet. He need to sell maybe 2 or 3 cars to a customer, but unfortunately he did not find the customer information in the system. So he'll take all the customer details and he will log in into MDG application. The details will be maintained in MDG and he'll submit the information for the next level validation. Now, there would be a specialist or maybe a section head of a vendor master or maybe a customer master. In this case, it's a customer master. He'll make sure all the basic attributes of the customer master are filled, like address information, bank information, communication details. To validate that information, he might be using an external services, as I told the Ministry of Commerce of the respective country, or the DNB services or data tools. He can consume that, or we can build some rules within the MDG system to check all the mandatory fields are filled, or we can propose some of the values based on some rules, etc. Once the guy validated the information is correct, then he'll finalize the data and he'll send it for the approval to approve the request. Now, approval department will collaborate with the various stakeholders in the business, and if it is required, they'll replicate the data to automatically to my SAP or third-party systems. On approval, they replicate the data. Now, replication can be an automatic or it can be manual. So once the data is replicated, if there are any local rules, maybe there are some Z fields which are part of these applications, which might not require an attention of governance board, they will be filled automatically. That's part of local adaptations. This is the standard process. It happens when customer implements application. So what are we trying to achieve here? If there is no MDG, you would have directly created the customer in XD01, which would be having the incomplete information. And after the transactions are posted, the transactions might be posted to a different customer or maybe a duplicate customer. But here, when we implement MDG, it is going through a proper channel, validation is happening, duplicates are taking place, and finally the information with utmost quality standards, 90% of the quality standards would be created in my customer master table. Okay. So,
Karthik, I think someone has unmuted because of which the background sound is coming in.
okay, let me,
Land, I think. That's fine.
Karthik, Sumit this side, and I cannot see your screen. Are you sharing something?
yes, I'm sharing. How about others?
Yeah, we are able to see.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Smith, can you, I think you might be in a
You can
different
say.
window. Can you shuffle between the windows, tabs?
Actually, I have logged in through phone.
Okay. So far we are able to see it, or till now you didn't see anything?
No. Till now I am able to see, but means I don't know what happened right now. It's not means there is no sharing content.
Okay. So then I think you can rejoin better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so far we understood, what MDG is what is its existence in terms of, master data, in terms of the customer implementation, and what is the simplified process flow, what are the various domains which are offered, right? So now we'll understand basically what is MDG system. When we say MDG system, is it a software or it's a server, different instance? We have a number of questions. So before we go with MDG, we need to understand the ECC system, how it's built and structured, maintained. So if anyone purchases an ECC system, it comes with the plain box. Then the basis data will be created by the basis team about the system profiling, user IDs, authorizations, blah, blah, blah. Then later on, the functional team will be given the access to create the organization specific data. It is nothing but your SPRO data. So once this SPRO data, here you'll maintain all the company codes, plans, currencies, exchange rates, so on and so forth. And this is really important. It's a prerequisite for anyone to create the master data. Because once our data is created, now we need to create the customers, vendors, materials, equipments, service masters, so on and so forth. So once the master data is available, then people will start doing transactions, posting towards the master data. So that's how your ECC system will start working on. Are there any questions on this? Hope it's a universal fact.
No question, Karthik.
Okay. So now if you look at the data from the dependency point of view, the transaction data is dependent on master data. And the master data is dependent on organization data. And for someone to create all this data, everyone is dependent on basis data. Everyone should have a user IDs and specific authorizations. Right? So this is how the dependency is existing. Now, if you park this discussion aside, now customer would purchase the MDG software from service marketplace, and the moment he purchases the software, he'll get a staging area in MDG software which holds the inactive and active data. When we say inactive, the data which is in approval process. Active means after approval. To make it simple, you applied a leave request. The request is there with your manager. He did not any take action. The request will be there in the inactive area. He took an action, say approved, then the request will be available in active area. MDG comes with these two, active and inactive areas. I'm just parking this MDG software aside. Remember, MDG is a software, ECC is a system. Now if I install this MDG software on an ECC system, that's nothing but an MDG system. MDG software does not have any MARA table, KNA1 table, LFA1 table, or the company code tables like T001CM. It does not have any SPRO configuration, MDG software. It has to be hosted on ECC system itself. So it will read the data from my ECC system. Then it does governance in various steps. Step 1, 2, 3. Then after approval, it will replicate the data back to my ECC system. This is how an MDG system would work. Now, if my MDG software is installed on my operational ECC system, when I say operational, remember that the transactions are happening in my operational system. It also has the transaction data. Then it's a core deployment. But in case, if I'm creating a new ECC system, and on top of that, I have MDG software. If it is an S4HANA system, as I told you, MDG is embedded in S4HANA. If it was a ECC system, you'll have ECC and then you'll install the software on it. So it is sitting on top. If it is S4HANA, it is embedded in S4HANA. That's the only difference. Into this operational ECC, we'll move all this basis data, organization data, and master data. This is one more possibility of MDG hub deployment. The same thing, this is ECC box. On ECC we are installing MDG. This is a different scenario. And if the customer is implementing S4HANA as a different instance, this is how the scenario would be. And the data will read from my MDG ECC box and MDG will start governing it. After governing, any data which is created newly or any data which is changed, it should again replicate back to my operational ECC system, because that's where my transactions are being posted. So this process will be always synchronized. My MDG ECC or S4HANA system is always synchronized with my operational ECC system. Now, this is how the hub deployment would work. So customers can have co-deployment where my MDG is sitting on operational ECC system and start governing it, or he can go to this hub deployment. Now, what are the reasons that he would go for hub deployment? As we discussed earlier, there are some minimum prerequisites for someone to install MDG. That's starting from EHP 7 onwards. If the customer is not on EHP 7, if maybe he is on 4.6c, then just to implement MDG, he would not actually upgrade himself into a new EHP version. So then he will install new instance which has an MDG capability, and from there he'll start using governance. This is one typical example I'm talking about, reason of hub deployment. Now customer has multiple production box. This is US box and he has one more operational box which is UK, and he has one more India box. For that, he don't want to implement 3 different implementations of MDG if he goes with the core deployment. So he'll have only one MDG box. From there, he'll do all the replication to save time and money.
Hi Karthik, here small clarification. So this hub deployment will be applicable only in case of systems, I mean ECC with EHP 6 and 7, but if the client is implemented S4 HANA, then this scenario will not come into picture. Am I correct?
See, again, that was one phase of, or that's one example that I picked up, okay? As you said, yes, it's not required, but example, let me take an example. Customer has 3
Okay.
production boxes on S4 HANA.
Okay, S4 HANA itself 3 production. Okay.
Now, do you really go for 3 different licenses?
MDG
Let's say
licenses.
yeah, so let's say you're implementing vendor master here. Will you take 3 different MDG vendor licenses here? License cost
No,
here?
we will not take 3 licenses.
Why? We should take, right? If we are having 3 different MDG implementations.
Okay,
Here you have
if
MDG,
we are doing 3.
here also you have MDG.
Okay,
As we
okay.
discussed, S4 HANA has MDG by default, but for you to implement MDG,
Correct.
you should have a license. Right?
Yeah, Karthik, your voice is breaking. Hello, your voice is breaking, Karthik.
Okay. So I'm saying, of course you have S4 HANA box, which has MDG by default in it. There is no licenses for the product purchase. You're not investing any cost for the product purchase, but you have to get licenses for the implementation of solution. So if you have 3 different boxes, you need to purchase 3 different licenses, and then 3 different implementations, and 3 different support projects.
Correct.
Right? It's a huge amount of, time and money investment for the company.
Exactly.
Right? So rather, even though he has S4 HANA, he can go with S4 HANA box. A new S4 HANA box. Only in this system, he'll take license for vendor. Okay?
Okay.
And start replicating the data from that central MDG box.
Okay.
Karthik, just I have one clarification. If they're having only one S4 HANA box means there is no separate MDG license ticket, correct?
Correct.
Fine, thank
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think I would be stopping the session here. I need to discuss about the storage modes, which will be continuing further. And so far, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take for the next 5 minutes.
No questions as of now, Karthik, but just wanted to discuss something over here regarding hub deployment and co-deployment. So the MDG system on which we are working on currently. So I'm just saying this just to clarify with the live example which we have in my company. So for example, a company has 3 different businesses. So for those 3 different businesses, we have different prerequisites or requirements from those 3 different businesses that is why they are creating we are doing hub deployment by replicating the data to each ECC different systems. So the last example which you have just given, exactly the same we are doing. So I can relate it completely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
So yeah, as you said, there are we discussed 2 or 3 scenarios, right? There would be some other scenarios as well. Sometimes even though you have your customer wanted to, or customer has S4HANA box on UAE. UAE is one box, and S4HANA, and US one S4HANA, and UK one S4HANA. In this model, definitely a hub deployment would preferable, right? With the previous example which we discussed. But still, there are some scenarios customer cannot go for hub model, even though there is a time and cost getting benefited out of this model, cannot go. Reasons? If you take the UK countries and UAE countries are more strict in terms of sharing their master data outside of these production boxes. It's a legal compliance there. They're happy to invest more money and more time rather than deviating the or crossing the legal obligations within their countries. So likewise, we need to understand various different aspects. Now, the decision of hub deployment would not be part of an MDG consultant role. Hope you understand now. Here MDG is not the priority. Here cost, time, implementation strategy, legalities of the master data is coming into the discussions. It can be an MDG tool, or it can be MDM tool, or it can be some third-party tool. The tool can be anything. So the discussions would happen with the various stakeholders in the business. The moment you start doing MDG implementation, it can be a greenfield implementation, bluefield implementation, or brownfield implementation. The decision has already made, and it will come to you to implement hub or to implement co-deployment model. So we are not involved in those discussions.
Okay, so basically we will be given with a complete like after they have completed the discussion, we are given with the decision. Okay, a functional expert of MDG will do a hub deployment or a co-deployment.
Exactly.
We don't have. Okay.
Karthik, here again Srinivas. So in case of hub deployment or co-deployment, is there any roles, roles in the sense responsibilities will change as a MDG consultant?
No.
Okay, it's both same for hub and co-deployment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Kartik, when you say this like a hub or co, and the role of the MDG consultant starts only from the configuration of the MDG, related master data related organizational data aspects from an SPRO perspective. There itself, the initial stages of the work starts for the MDG consultant, right?
Not exactly. Yes, I should say partially yes. See, MDG consultant role is not to bring all the SPRO configurations into hub model. Yeah, that's a part of the data synchronization between two different systems. And in fact, we should not do it without knowing, see, when someone create an org structure, there would be a purpose, right? We cannot take it the dump of that configurations into one system, but we would be definitely involved in the in that customizing data synchronization. That we will actually go and sit with the core functional teams, not from MDG functional, from the SD functional, MM functional, finance functional teams. We need to collaborate with them and tell the reason why we need to move those configurations into MDG box, and we'll initiate a request for them to move it. They will be moving the data. We are not responsible to move the data. But our involvement is there to initiate the data movement.
So in that way, it's like the IT manager would be kept in the loop to make these things happen in, to get the
Exactly.
synchronization of the teams. All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
He would be a central point of contact to do all this stuff.
Karthik, in this case scenario, like which is on the screen, where the UAE and UK clients are not comfortable to share their master data, so they are doing the code deployment over UK, over UAE, and over US, right? So we have got three respective MDG
Implement.
code deployments, right? Done.
Right.
So will there be three different governance team for these three different MDG systems, or there will be one?
Yeah.
They'll be take.
No. Now, if three boxes are separate, then we cannot have one central governance team for it, right? They would be having their local bodies to govern the data.
I think, the way the implementation is being handled, the business process from the front end, the users, how the business runs. If there is a dependency between the UK and the UAE or else the US, then there could be a chance of integration. If they are working independent, CC, the implementation that is already on place, probably it's like there wouldn't be any synchronization.
Yeah. So I agree with you. But when we actually say, they do not share the master data outside of their production units, that's where, the connection between the dependencies would break. But if there are dependencies, as you said, on some exception conditions, yes, the governance body would have an access to these two different systems, and they'll be given access to two different MDG applications, and they start using governance. It's purely your implementation strategy based on the customer needs. See, we can also have some hybrid model also. There would be a hub and co-deployment model as well. You have your own, to make it simple, you have your one US system which is on S4, which has MDG and its business suite, S4HANA business suite. And you have UK system which is on 4.6C audited system. This is also your production unit, this is also your production unit. So you can start implementing MDG to govern the data of your system, And you can also use this MDG system to govern the data of UK as well. So in this context, this is co-deployment model. In the context of UK, it is hub deployment model.
That is clear. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, is it going to be weekend class or weekdays?
Yeah. So it is going to be weekend class.
Mm-hmm.
It would be on Saturday and Sunday for
Okay.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
And yeah, 2.5 hours. And right now, I think we started at 8:30 Indian timing, right? This is just because of, I'm there at on-site now for the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Where?
And,
Which country?
yeah, I'm right now in the Middle East.
Middle East. Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. So for the next 2 weeks, I think we would be having only one section which is on Saturday because the Middle East timings works. Weekday starts from Sunday here. Sunday
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Thursday. Friday and Saturday is a weekend. So I cannot take session on Sunday for the next 2 weeks. So after that, we would be having Saturday and Sunday starting from 8 a.m. to 10:30
Well,
a.m.
actually, just I'm wondering, I don't know about others. Just 2.5 hours class. Do you think that you can be able to concentrate? I don't know. I'm just putting a question because I've never been in such a situation. Just I'm asking.
I'm able to grab your attention. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree. I agree to it.
Karthik, submit this site, and what would be the duration if this is on weekends? The total duration of the course?
The total duration would generally come for 35 hours.
Okay.
And plus,
Means as you are saying that there might be some people who is not familiar with the technical parts, so you have told that you will be starting from scratch. So is it feasible in 35 hours?
that includes 35 hours.
Okay.
Okay. Because for me, there is no batch, for who meets all the prerequisites to learn MDG. Definitely no. So we'll always
Yeah,
include that in our total scope.
yeah, definitely. Because especially talking about me, means I am purely from the functional background. I do know some parts of the ABAP thing, but not as the pure ABAPer. So, do you think it's feasible for me to understand from?
Yeah, because MDG has only 5% of coding.
Okay.
95% is a solution which is very generally configurable. There are some code generators which works in behind the screen, which automatically taken care by a framework.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
So next 5 hours, I would take it as buffer. I would require maybe more examples to handle few scenarios. So it takes some time. It's purely dynamic based on the context. So I would take it putting together 35 plus 5 hours buffer. I'm saying it's 40 hours. Generally, it goes for a duration of 2 months. In this 2 months, maybe you guys might be, looking at the course curriculum. The way that I will be dealing this course would follow a different strategy compared to, other training providers that you might come across. So there would be a sequence which people will generally follow, but the sequence which I follow here is different. First, as we discussed, we are talking about the deployment options. And second, we'll talk about deployment options plus storage modes. And next we'll talk about data model. And then we should actually talk about UM modeling, but I'm talking about process modeling. And then I'll talk about UI, and then I'll talk about data quality, and then I talk about replication, and then import. So this part is really important for the people who needs to deliver the objects immediately. These are the things where all the functional and technical consultants would be focusing more on any implementation or support projects. So the fact is, like, people will join the course because that they need to switch the job, a career path, and or they need to deliver, they were supposed to, assigned to an MDG project, so they need to deliver some of the objectives of MDG, or they have already working in MDG project, but they wanted to get more clarity. So taking all these things into consideration, this is the most focused area for all the implementation and interview aspects as well. Most of the business scenarios would fall under these three discussions. So I'm just taking the fourth chapter, which is on high priority, and going with the rest of the chapters here.
Now I have a
Karthik?
question, Karthik. Yeah. I'm sorry. So once we are done with deployment options and storage mode, will we be having any illustrations or exercises to be done as a part of our homework for the rest of the week? And
See,
same
so
goes for
far,
data modeling. Yeah.
so the deployment mode and storage mode is all about the theoretical things which I would be explaining. We will not enter into the system. So the moment I start the data model discussions, you will be doing practical on the system.
Okay. 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 So, for example, if I want to go for MDGF financial, and so will I be getting or some other guy needs to work on vendor or some other module? Then
Yeah, so
will
each module will
he,
get a different functional consultant, different set of developer team.
so your illustrations. I'm sorry. So the illustrations or the homework will be given. The practicals will be given respectively, like MDGF or MDGC or MDGV, something like it.
Okay, so to answer that question, I would not give you any assignments on the standard solutions. If we wanted to configure a standard solution, hardly it should take 1 day, less than a day. Okay. So let's say if I give you a new plain vanilla greenfield implementation, you would hardly take 1 day to configure MDG box. It's a practical for any standard out-of-the-box solutions. Okay, so there is nothing that you will learn to configure a standard solution. It's all about you start installing a solution, automatically things would come in the place. You don't configure the data model for finance. You don't configure the process model for finance. You don't configure your model for finance or any out-of-the-box solutions. There is nothing available for you to learn on the standard solution. Yeah. So we'll be working only on the custom solution. Of course, we'll be doing finance, but as a custom solution. Customer as a custom solution. Hope you understand.
Right.
That's where we will be working on.
Okay, so you're meaning that the way you will give us your practical be done, uh, they will be standard in such a way that it will be applicable for customer, for finance, for every module we have.
Not like every model. See, there is no differences in terms of finance or customer. The concept remains same. Now, I will be giving you an assignment to. I'll be giving you a complete new solutions. Let's say you have a partner solutions like equipment master you have, right? I'll be giving you to develop an equipment master. Now, taking that as an example, you can also do all this finance, customer, supplier, material. If you have your time, you can start doing all of these things. But I'm saying there are no conceptual differences
Okay.
between each and every solution that you are receiving.
Okay. So Karthik, actually, why I'm asking this question, because I only know about the storage mode, which is reuse and flex. Flex is only for finance, and reuse is for rest of the other we have. So from that perspective, I'm coming from.
Right.
We have.
Right. As you are aware, only finance is a solution which is available in Flex. Rest of all the solutions are available in reuse. Right. So since Flex is a standard solution, you don't need to work much on finance. First of all, MDG finance itself is implemented hardly for the customers as well. And even though let's say they are implemented, we will be working on all the configuration nodes, including the Flex model as well in the later discussions. So that information would be sufficient for you to work on the enhancements of finance as well.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah. And last
Sir,
question from my side.
Mhm.
Will we be discussing about workflows and additions, right?
Yes, we'll be
In detail?
discussing in
Perfect.
process.
Sure. Thanks. That's it. Yeah, thank you.
yeah, Karthik, I have a small clarification. As per your
Mhm.
statement, during the MDG system software purchasing itself, by default, the standard module, all the things configured one, like that you told. So in the standard things, we should not configure anything.
Yeah, in the standard solution, you will not configure much, but only the users.
Okay. So one more thing. So in that case, by default, change request, mass upload, everything is by default is appear for standard thing.
Yeah. Yes.
So we should not do anything. That is
We don't require to do anything.
okay.
As I
Okay. So
told,
only custom.
you will be just configuring the users in a workflow process.
Okay. Fine. My second question. Is it
Mhm.
any fast track is there or only this 2 months course? The reason why I'm asking, I already joined the MDG project with my basic knowledge.
Okay.
So that I want to equip fastly. So for that
I
reason
understood.
I'm asking.
I understood. As of now, I think there is no fast track course available as well.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
My third question is, if
Mhm.
I'm joining this course, during the course time, if I'm getting any, my real time project doors, can you clarify that part, that time?
I actually know any project specific queries are no, not allowed.
Okay.
But I'm open for that. The only thing is it's my availability.
Yeah. Availability means if I'm sending the mail, if it is possible, is it
See,
possible you can,
yeah. Definitely all the queries that you have in terms of assignments, definitely I'll be able to answer you because some time is invested for that. But if you have any project specific queries, yes, I do give the responses, but sometimes you might expect a delay from my side.
Yeah, that is fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, my side. Thanks, Karthik.
Karthik, regarding the batch timing, are you specific to only one batch in a day on Saturday, or else do you have any other batch intention to start in a later part of the day?
Right now, there are batches which are running on Saturday, Sundays, and as of now. But I think the batches are in between, in middle. So this is the only slot available for us to start a new batch.
Can you outline what are the timings of the running batches? I mean, I'm also specific on a weekends itself, but I'm interested to understand the time.
See, it would be 7 p.m. IST to 9:30 p.m. IST. Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, my query is like, what if we miss a session? So, we do have any backup or have the video?
The training videos will be shared to you, right? So you can go through with them. If you have any questions, we can discuss later on.
Sure. And one more thing, I'm complete new to SAP. Like I have little what SAP or ERP, what are the different modules in that, but I never knew the practical things of those. And what would be my takeaway? Is this a technical part or techno-functional part, or only just the functional part? And what will be my takeaway like at the end of this course, and if I go into market, so what can I tell about myself, like where can I fit in? That's all.
You would be fitting in a functional role, saying that you have an implementation experience with the project that we'll be doing as part of this course duration.
Okay, so no, absolutely no prerequisite of any like web or any modules, or let's say it's the MM.
No.
Thank you.
Karthik, will you be provided us the materials like
Yes, I do.
Okay. So from next Saturday, I believe you start.
Yes.
Okay.
Karthik, about the timings, I think today we have started our session at around 8:30, and correct me if I'm wrong here. You have just said that going forward we will be having the session starting 7 a.m. IST to 8:30.
No. I said 8 a.m.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that will be fine. That will be good. So, yeah.
Karthi, what time? Can you repeat it?
8 a.m. IST to 10:30 a.m.
Okay.
IST.
Next week. Today, tomorrow you don't have, right, class?
No, tomorrow we don't have. Today also I'm supposed to take around 2.5 hours, but since it's new for everyone and the terminologies, the concept would not it takes some time for individuals to adopt the terminology as well. So first maybe 1 or 2 sessions I will take less than 2.5 hours, 2 hours. Once we are on track, then the speed would continue on that. 2 hours.
Yeah, one
We'll
more
be
query.
sending a recorded session every day, right?
Yeah, we'll be getting it.
Yeah, one more
Do you
query.
give any material for after this? See, honestly speaking, I worked on MDG. Like I know like 30-40%. After this course, I am planning to go for certification. Is there any material you can provide for the certification?
For the certification, yes, I think we can provide. You just check with the management, yeah. They must be having a certification material with them. Just check with them.
Yes, Karthik, we will be getting trained only on for HANA or general ECC system.
See, there is no difference in terms of S4HANA or ECC in terms of MDG framework.
Okay, so
And it's not I'm saying it, it's SAP says that. MDG
okay,
does not have any impact based on S4HANA or ECC being used.
okay. So how we can practice? Like, will you provide any
As I
rental
told you,
systems?
right,
Okay,
as I told you, there are two systems which would be providing for you.
okay,
PHP 7 on
okay.
7.0 version and S4HANA MDG 9.0. So please keep
We can
9.0 version not for any enhancements because that's the only working system that we have. So we would not give developer access in that, but we will give you end user access so that you can work on the solution. And EHP 7 is kind of a sandbox for you. You can start working anything on it.
So both are connected, is it? Like we can make some changes there and we can view or test here, like how it's working or configure accordingly,
No,
or
no,
it's
no. So
completely
EHP 7 itself has an MDG solution, okay?
okay.
Both the boxes has MDG solutions. Yeah. Okay. So